Well, my transition for high school was basically that the principal asked me to leave. Like I was getting in trouble. I got in a fight with like this little weird little New York kid. He had like some very like blonde hair. And he used to use weird words in high school like mollywop. And one day, I think he was trying to show off to some girls. I'm standing near the lunchroom. There's like a little corridor. Everybody stay. I guess the kids who get in trouble or the cool kids stand there and shoot the shit during lunch. And I guess there was a girl there that he was trying to show off to that I guess we were kind of competing for attention for. And I had a Coke can in my hand. And he was making some joke and playing around, and he knocked the Coke can out of my hand right in front of the girl. And I took it serious because I felt like that was a form of disrespect. That's how I felt. And so he started, like, we were about to fight. So I like started moving toward him like we're about to fight. And I got my hands up. He started jumping up and down like he's crazy. Like the weirdest stuff you ever see, like jumping straight into the sky, like with his hands up like that. I'm like, what the hell? So everybody's gathering around. I was about to go down, and they ended up breaking it up right before we were about to start swinging. So this is after me already being in a fight like earlier that year and being suspended. And this is me 17 years old in high school, and still in the 10th grade because basically I didn't go to school. I was skipping class all the time. I didn't want to be there. And so my principal brought me in the office that day, and he told me, man, hey, man, why are you in there fighting? You know, you should be trying to get girls or do this and do that. But instead, you're in fighting. He's like, you know what? He's like, you're 17. You're still in the 10th grade. You haven't been going to school. You've been fighting. It's better that you just stop coming to high school at this point because you're wasting your time and you're getting behind. Go get a GED and go to college. And so that's how I left high school, essentially. And so going into the real world, I kind of went into the real world, like emotionally and mentally as a failure. Hey, you didn't really finish high school. Then I had a principal tell me what he told me. I went back to my mom's house. It was like 5 people living there. It wasn't a positive experience to start your life as an adult, I think around 18. So the next few years, I ended up just doing a lot of random stuff. I think I took a job where I was traveling around the United States selling magazines door to door. That was really weird. I'll tell you about that later. But I spent like 2 or 3 years just floating around, hanging out with somebody who used to be my best friend, drinking, getting into drugs, trying to figure out and devise ways to get laid, even though you don't have a car, just horsing around and wasting time and directionless. And eventually I had an older brother who ended up going to college at the University of Houston. I worked a whole bunch of random jobs, probably had like 50 jobs, man. I'm talking about like everything you could think of, from telemarketing to working in a warehouse to door-to-door sales, just doing random crap. And so eventually enrolled in community college, ended up getting a GED, and then I started going to community college. But basically those years between getting kicked out and before joining college, I was just floating around and trying to do the things and the experiences that I should have experienced in high school, like the dating and getting laid. And basically, I wasn't able to even do that well because once you're out of high school, you're not really around girls anymore all the time. I didn't have a car. I was stuck on Northwest Houston. I basically was stuck in a certain area. So really, I couldn't do most of those things. So a lot of it was just hanging around, drinking, and shooting the shit with 1 or 2 friends that I did have, playing basketball, and really living a limited existence as far as like when it comes to personal development as a young man, like the things that a young man wants to be doing. A young man wants to be moving forward with a potential career. A young man wants to be learning about relationships between men and women at those ages where you're developing your sense of self. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just stuck on the side of town, hanging around, bullshitting with a friend, and not really developing those skills that I needed to develop to be a successful young man. And so when I did go to college, I was still in my high school phase of trying to accomplish small things to make you feel like an adult, you know, more relationships, sex, the things that you should have really got started in high school and really start maturing into real relationships once you got out of high school. And I was barely still trying to have my first relationships. And so The reality is I was behind. I was behind because I didn't fit in. I didn't participate. I got kicked out of high school. I floated around when I was out of school. So basically, I was behind my peers in most of the emotional development. Now, intellectually, I was probably significantly smarter than the majority of people I was around. But emotionally and having the actual experiences, I lacked, which matters the most in life, even more than being smart. So that was kind of my experience coming out of high school as somebody who's been asked to leave, essentially. It wasn't a positive experience. It wasn't a positive experience, but that was what happened. That is my story. And I think that is what it is. And it is what it is. Thanks for listening.